Hello everyone, welcome back to Durbanites FPL Game Week 28 preview, Game Week 29 preview. With the blanks coming up, let's start as usual with the table. Bigger gap opening up after a good week for the Chiefs, so just around 50 points is the difference. However, further down the line, big game week for Fatima jumping up to third and now even challenging second. Coconut Darren moving up as well into sixth place. The battle is big and look at the points differences. Now Fatima Bibi challenging for second, just 17 points away with a big blank game week coming up. Then just 6 points anyway from the previous holder of the third spot. Isak here looking to move up 6 points away. Further down the line though, the champ is back up in fifth. 13 points away from him, or is his mum. So just 13 points separating them, and then just a point further back, Hassan making a challenge to come back into the top half of the table. 8 points behind him though. Dora the scorer having a terrible week, dropping 2 places in this week, but just 20 points away from her. Kaleji Paul, another good performance from him this week. So look at that fight for the middle of the table, trying to get up to the top, trying to get into the podium spaces. With just 10 weeks now left in the season, everything is coming down to a head. Let's have a look at the player selections. As expected, Lewis Hall has dropped off, but not as much. Still, half the managers are holding on to him, probably because it's difficult to get a replacement at that price. But right now, Mo Salah is still in 11 out of 12 teams. Someone is still not fully sold on him. Cole Palmer is in the 84% still. Again, with some tough games coming up, and with Cole Palmer really lacking form all of a sudden, missing a penalty this last week, chances are he will be sold soon. Alexander Isak still holding on. 75% of the managers have him. He has a blank this game. We'd also be very careful about that. And Chris Wood now jumping in, just more than half the managers in the league calling up on Chris Wood. Fantastic form this season, so well worth the shout out. Differentiators for this week, nobody hitting double figures, so that is amazing, except for Mo Salah, of course. But João Pedro is a good call out, just one manager having faith in him. Only Watkins coming up with 3 of the managers putting him in their lineup. And Robert Sanchez from Chelsea, the goalkeeper, making a much awaited return. 4 managers out of the 12 having him in the team and getting a 9th return at that. And looking at the hits and misses as well. So, from the defensive side, Diddy looks like he's taking the mantle on from his sister. Something about the water in Seaview. 20 plus points there. Great Stonewall performance, as well as Amin and Suad all coming in with a solid performance at the back. And just one miss this week, missing in action. 4 players with 0 points for Asa. Big mistake, causing a drop of 2 places in the table. Hopefully she'll bounce back this week. Let's have a look now at our best possible selection from the team. As you can expect, with a very tough game week, Henderson was up at the number 1, so taking up the goalkeeper's jersey with 10 points, owned by 6 managers at this point as well. The back line was big, very few goals this week, so Mitchell from Crystal Palace, Wan Bissaka, who's really doing well at West Ham, Nico Williams from Nottingham Forest, Levi Colwill is still in there, and Digne is still in, Lucas Digne from Aston Villa. So no defenders on the bench this week. The midfield was really lacking. Only Mo Salah putting up a great performance there and being the captain for the week. Enzo Fernandez also getting a call out for his work at Chelsea during that 1-0 win. So other than that, 3 forwards featured this week. Raul Jimenez doing well at Fulham. Ollie Watkins again coming up with a return, and João Pedro coming in line as well. Ange Postecoglou getting the assistant manager slot this week. Great win for Spurs there, giving him 10 points. On the bench, we have Robert Sanchez, again, unlucky to be on the bench this week. A very lean bench, just Anthony Elanga, Morgan Rogers, and Justin Kluivert, all of them sitting on the bench. As you can imagine, this week, just 113 without the bench boost, and just another 20 with the bench boost. Super cost-effective team, 88. If you want to have a look at this, if you're looking to play that wild card, possibly an option for you. With that, let's go into looking at the fixtures this week. Now again, guys, super important to remember that there are blanks this week. So looking at the fixtures, Bournemouth and Wolves probably have the best run at this moment in time. 3 very winnable games for both of them. So look heavily into those teams. Wolves unfortunately missing Munya because of his suspension, but there are other options in there. Looking at Notts Forest, looking at their form as well, they should be good against Ipswich, even though Ipswich will sit with a low block against all 3 teams that they play. Then Manchester United and Aston Villa. Again, 50-50. I think even on paper, Manchester United, looking at the European performance, is looking to come back into some form at least. Aston Villa not doing too badly. Unai Emery is cranking out those results under difficult circumstances and doing well in the Champions League as well. So not easy games for Notts Forest. Definitely just keep an eye out on that. West Ham is resurgent under Graham Potter. Not too bad fixtures. Maybe some that you need to be wary about before they hit Liverpool in game week 32. But not so bad at all. And then looking at Manchester City, guys, I know on paper it looks bad, mainly because they are doing really terribly at this moment in time. But they don't have a bad round of fixtures. If you look at it, Brighton, Leicester, Manchester United, Crystal Palace, Everton, then Aston Villa in game week 34. Just calling out that, looking at Erling Haaland's patterns in the time that he's been on the Premier League, he kicks off the season with a ton of goals and usually sneaks in at the end to steal the golden boot as well. I know he gets a lot of flack for not performing, but if you look back at his returns in the last 10 games, he has scored 7 goals and had 2 assists. That's not bad for a striker. He is currently still scoring 6.1 points per game on average, on the same level as Chris Wood at this moment in time, and only second to the man of the moment, Alexander Isak. Other strikers are not scoring as efficiently. The price is a big inhibitor, but if you're looking at changing your team around, there are definitely some good options for a cheaper defensive line, some good midfielders from teams that are not overly priced, and then a chance for you to bring Erling Haaland back. It might be a differentiator towards the run-in at the end of the season. Now, looking at the teams that you have to be cautious with, starting with the 4 blanks: Villa, Crystal Palace, Liverpool, and Newcastle, not there this week. So, Ollie Watkins, Jean-Philippe Mateta, Mo Salah, most importantly, I think, and Alexander Isak, all not showing up this week. That's going to mean a huge restructure for our managers. Some of them may be opting to play the free hit, and if you're playing the free hit, you've got to look at the table above and fill your team up with Bournemouth, Wolves, Notts Forest, West Ham, and Man City if you can afford big guys from there. Looking at other teams that have a challenging run also, Arsenal struggling at this moment in time to keep pace with Liverpool. They've got Chelsea this week, and noted Chelsea is struggling but could decide this London derby to have a bit of a say. Then you've got Fulham and Everton after that, then Brentford, Ipswich, and Crystal Palace. So not too bad after this week, but not, let's say, a favourable game this week. Same for Chelsea, Arsenal, then Tottenham, then Brentford before they get a bit of an easier run. But again, on current form with Cole Palmer not firing, everyone is struggling at Chelsea. Noni Madueke is injured as well, so it's a bit of a tough slog at this moment. Brighton have been doing really well, but again, tough games coming up ahead of them. Man City and then Aston Villa before they get on Crystal Palace, Leicester, Brentford, and West Ham. They've not been firing on all cylinders, just eking out the wins. They do blow hot and cold, so just making a call out here. Good games sometimes, and then terrible games. Fulham, and a lot of people have been relying on Raul Jimenez and these guys. Tough games coming up. Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool in the next 3, and then just Bournemouth before they get Chelsea. And I say just Bournemouth, but Bournemouth have been cracking this season before they get Southampton in game week 34. So if you have those Fulham players, time to start looking at how we can move away from that. Brentford, another one. Nguemo's been fantastic this season. So has Johan Wissa, definitely bringing the points when they need it. Guys, look at the run ahead. Brentford are not a form team. They have been eking out wins, eking out goals. They've lost a fair amount as well. They've got Bournemouth coming up, and Bournemouth have been in good form. Then Newcastle, Chelsea, and Arsenal before they take on Brighton. Again, have been another hot and cold team. And then Notts Forest, who are determined, it seems, this year to win the Champions League next year. So just making a call out here. You might want to stick around with the Brentford players, but it is a risk in the next 6 weeks. Looking at our options to pick, so from the goalkeeper side, only by Ender, that's a notable exception that is out or at least highly doubtful for United. But our picks based on the reduced schedule is Sells from Nottingham Forest, Areola, who's been doing fantastically for Graham Potter at West Ham, Jose Sa at Wolves for the next 3 weeks, and Kepa. So all good options that you could look at for the next 3 weeks. From the defender side, Trent Alexander-Arnold's picked up a knock. There's also some discussion now on whether he will get an offer from Real Madrid to join them in the off-season. A lot of things happening around this player, and Liverpool are blanking this week, so just if you have him, be aware he needs to be on the bench or starting to move out. Martinez, Euro, and Rogu still out from Manchester United, one of the teams that you may have decided to pick this week, so a little bit wary of what to come in there. Of course, they have the young Aiden Heaven there if you're looking for a player to put in from a defensive point of view. Sven Botman is out and Lewis Hall out for Newcastle, but again, they are blanking this week, so unless you have an option for them, look at transferring, and John Stones still out from Manchester City. But looking at the picks, Gabriel and Guardiola keep their place this week because of cost of their options of getting goal returns, and they have been getting clean sheets along the way as well. So initially I was looking at not recommending them, but the truth is they are still worthwhile picking. Super expensive options. You might decide to go then for Huijsen or Kerkez out of Bournemouth. Kerkez also an attacking threat as well. He does really well down that wing, and Bournemouth have some favourable fixtures coming up. If you're looking for another team that has favourable fixtures with an attacking winger, Rayan Ed-Nouri is the option for you. He's fairly well priced. Wolves have good features ahead, but they do have a tendency to concede goals as well. So I would not be looking at Rayan Ed-Nouri for clean sheets, only for an attacking option. But the other issue here is that Matheus Cunha is not there. So you've got Stan Larsen up front, and not sure whether those crosses that Ed-Nouri usually puts in will be converted at the same rate. However, still worth a shout out if you're on a budget and looking to pick up Erling Haaland. Ola Aina is a no-brainer for me for Notts Forest. Definitely well worth it for a goal scorer, and Notts Forest good for clean sheets as well. Milinkovic is the other one that's coming in. Again, if you're on a price point, if you're looking to bring in Haaland, you really want to start looking at cheaper defenders. Milinkovic at 4.4 is a steal for this weekend. And then Aaron Wan-Bissaka at 4.7, he deserves a call out. He's been working really hard for West Ham, put in a big performance against all the teams that he's played for recently, and been getting returns as well with assists, so well worth a shout out to look at Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now, looking at the midfield, still a lot of injuries there, so Bob and Rodri out for Manchester City, Saka is out from Arsenal, and Raheem Sterling will not be able to start as he did in Europe this week because of him being blocked from playing his parent club Chelsea. McNeil is still out from Everton, Wilson Adama is still out from Fulham, even though again Fulham players are injured right now. Ahmad is still out from Manchester United, probably coming in later this season. But you've got Noni Madueke out for Chelsea and Munetsi doubtful for Wolves. Now, I specifically put in Munetsi here because I've also recommended that you look at him. He is a fantastic goal threat. He's only played 4 games for Wolves so far this season, and I think he's netted 1 and had 1 assist already. So definitely look at him if you're looking for, again, a well-priced midfield attacking option. Now, Cole Palmer, I did say last week that we'd give him just one more chance, but I think because of the blank game week, if you have him, you might want to hold him this week. However, if you're looking to make up some cash to get Erling Haaland in, it's time to say bye-bye to Cole Palmer. Not favourable matches for Chelsea coming along the way, and his failure to convert from the penalty spot just tells you that his confidence is at an all-time low, and if he's not going to fire now, he's just not going to fire. Christian Kunku has been getting good returns even this week as well, so well worth it to have a look at him and see whether he's put into your team. Brian and Puemo calling him out this week specifically because of the blank going up against Spurs this week, if I recall. And after that, I would be looking to sell Justin Kluivert and Anton Semenyo for Bournemouth. Good picks for the next 3 weeks, depending on what your budget looks like. Look at either one or both of them. Jared Bowen again flourishing now under Graham Potter, getting the goals, getting the assists, definitely well worth looking at. Now we're looking at João Gomez as well from Wolves, again specifically because he's one of the attacking threats against the teams that they're playing, as is Munetsi. And again, without Cunha there, chances are the goals are going to have to come from these midfield players. Calling out Carlos Alcaraz from Everton in the absence of McNeil, he's been a bit the engine room. But again, this is more if you're looking for a bit of a bargain player because you need to free up money. Everton not really firing on all cylinders yet. They have good results against David Moyes, but nothing that is setting the world alight. Nottingham Forest, what else can we say? These guys are just fire right now. Morgan Gibbs-White, Callum Hudson-Odoi and Anthony Alanga deserve the shout-out. They have been in the points. They are right up there within the top 15 midfielders for the season, really picking up all the points that are coming from Notts Forest, giving great service to Chris Wood up front. So definitely worth looking at picking up some of these players if you're looking at the midfield, and especially if you're playing your wild card on this blank game. So from the forwards, again, a lot of injuries here. So Mateta's the one that's out and blanking this week. The rest of them are out, but their teams are playing. Havertz and Gabi Jesus still out for Arsenal. Richarlison still out for Spurs, but Dominic Solanke's back, guys. So I haven't put him as a recommendation here because Spurs don't have the easiest games coming up. But if you're looking at him, he's definitely one that did so well at Bournemouth last year and well at Spurs, and he did also help out in the game in Europe this week. Nicholas Jackson still out for Chelsea as well, and they are struggling. But again, good news for those that have Chris Nkunku because he will probably play up front yet again. Now looking at the picks for this week, Chris Wood, without a doubt, has to be there. In the absence of Alexander Isak and Mo Salah, this is the guy who is scoring the most points this season. So Chris Wood, top striker for this Fantasy Premier League based on points. So he needs to be in there. You're also looking at Yohan Wissa. Again, probably the last week that I'll recommend him, specifically because of the blank this week. But then look to sell Yohan Wissa and look at strikers that have more favourable returns coming up or more favourable fixtures. Beto from Everton is another goal threat as well. Everton don't have the best games. Again, if you're looking to bolster your squad, looking to bring Erling Haaland in as a differentiator, Beto is a good option to go to try and free up some money. Same as Evan Nilsson from Bournemouth, already showed that he can make a difference. He's an excellent striker. They have great games coming up. Definitely look at him coming in. And again, in the absence of Matthias Cunha, Strand Larsen from Wolves might be the option that you're looking for. He has been prolific, but coming off an injury, not sure whether he's so wired yet to start scoring, but an option is an option. And then here he is, the man himself, Erling Haaland, down at the bottom of the list because again there's a lot of debate about whether his form will come back and whether the fixtures that are lying ahead are actually going to be the ones that score him. But I have to say to you guys, go back and look at Fantasy Premier League, look at the statistics previously. He comes into the season firing. Sometimes he struggles towards the middle of the season, but towards the end of the season, he absolutely lights up the league again. You know for sure that Pep Guardiola is not trying to finish outside the top 4. He's going to make a push. They are now out of all other competitions. Only the league stands in front of them. So they're going to really push and get that form coming back. They are struggling with midfield form as well. He's got some new players in there, some young talent. Definitely look at Erling Haaland if you have the cash. He definitely might be the differentiator you're looking for. Now, lastly, we're looking at the assistant managers. So for this week, our picks are Andoni Areola. So again, looking at Bournemouth with their fixtures, Wolves with their fixtures. So these are the top 2 guys that you're looking at. Pereira probably the choice if you want to try and pick up those bonus points, playing teams that are a bit higher than you. But I don't think their fixtures have to be 5 league, let's say league points, those league standings ahead of them. But again, these are the 3 that we would highly recommend. Potter from West Ham, Iraola from Bournemouth, and Pereira from Wolves. Postecoglou from Spurs. Again, last week's top manager, and again, a win is a win, so you get 10 points. David Moyes, similarly from Everton, would get you the points you're looking for. He's still the 2nd ranked manager after Arne Slot in the FPL rankings. Ruben Amorim, if you saw the game yesterday with Manchester United, really doing well. And again, if they can score 4 goals, that's a lot of points coming out of there. His defense looks fairly settled. They've only been conceding penalties lately, so really looking like they have a good setup there. Maybe the man that you're looking for if you want to take a punt on him. Eddie Howe and Arne Slot, of course, their teams are doing fantastically well. However, they are blanking this week. So if you have them as your assistant manager, look to make the transfer this week. If you do not have them as your assistant manager, I would highly recommend not playing your assistant manager card this week to include these managers. Rather start with the ones up top. So that's what we have for this week. Quite interesting. The blank game week is going to make things insane, and let's see how it affects the table as it comes in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop us a comment as well. It's very tight in the last 10 game weeks of the season. I look forward to seeing how it all pans out. So long for now.